Hi, my name is Nobukhosi Ngwenya and I'm a Junior Research Fellow on the PEAK project here at the African Centre for Cities. Cape Town, like many cities in the Global South, has experienced significant transformation of its human settlement sector since the 1980s. This transformation has continued apace, yet we are still faced between 360,000 to 400,000 units in the city. The state, through its formal housing program, simply cannot meet the demand. To meet demand, occupations have emerged as a key process through which the urban poor access land and housing in southern cities. Occupations have always been an important mode through which the poor access shelter in South Africa. Over the course of history, occupations have taken on different roles within the public discourse, policy, and politics. In the present day, the role of occupations has shifted once again as the issue of expropriation of land without compensation becomes a central focus on the national agenda. Despite the fact that occupations are a key process through which the urban poor access housing, the focus of the state politicians and technocrats remains on state-led processes of housing delivery. As Sihlongonyana notes, the issue of occupations has been smouldering out of view for a long time beneath the more glaring issues of housing, employment and infrastructure. This is driven in part by the significant investment that the South African government has made into its national housing program. It is within this context that our research takes place. Our research examines 4 cases of informal occupation. The first case is in Greenpoint, the second in Woodstock, and the third and fourth cases are in Khayelitsha, which is a peripheral settlement in the city of Cape Town. The questions which we sought to answer in the first phase of our research are: how are occupations taking place? That is, through what processes and strategies are pieces of land or vacant buildings claimed, retrofitted and occupied? How is underutilized space and infrastructure activated by citizens? Can occupations be seen as a mode of activating underutilized public assets? And whose moral authority guides development in the city? To enable us to explore the ways in which underutilized land and or vacant buildings have been claimed, retrofitted and occupied by communities, we used a case study approach and discourse analysis. Our findings thus far highlight the need for debates on land and housing to converge, particularly if the issue of informal occupations is under the spotlight. Only very recently has there been an interest in urban land in national debates, with the issue of appropriation without compensation coming to the fore. That being said, there is a longer history of concern with urban land in Cape Town, and this concern centers around the need for the release of well-located public land, that is well-located state land, for the provision of affordable housing within the inner city for poorer residents. Debates on informal occupations are highly charged both within the state and without. Vanessa Watson uses the term conflicting rationalities to define this deep divergence in opinions between communities and the state. However, we have found through our research that these deep differences also occur between different state actors. A case in point is the leader of the opposition party, Julius Malema, calling on poorer residents to occupy land in 2016. Malema said, "If you see a piece of land and you like it, don't apologize, go and occupy that land." Malema has since repeated this call, highlighting that even within the state there are parallel discourses upon which, to varying extents, communities draw on to justify their occupation. The second finding we've made relates to the inextricable link between questions of belonging and citizenship with the housing question and questions around the provision of related infrastructure. This is related to another finding which raises questions around whose moral authority guides development in the city. This moral authority is by and large guided by Western normative ideals, which are subsequently utilized to criminalize occupiers' efforts to realize housing and meet their shelter needs. As we move into the next phase of our research, we turn our attention to the interface between localized processes and citywide drivers of human settlements transformation. We'll be looking at the extent to which and under what circumstances occupiers and city officials draw on different discourses to justify their actions in relation to occupations. We'll also be exploring other modes of retrofitting underutilized public assets. Overall, the research will work to articulate the complex ways in which urban institutions, occupational retrofit logics, and the materiality of the city intersect and the implications of these intersections.